Andrew, we're just seeing reports coming through that a member of the coalition is set to quit Parliament as early as today. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's happening. Alan Tudge is going. He's making the announcement after question time, I've been told by Liberal sources, Ash, just in the last couple of minutes. And then there will be a by-election. It's obviously up to the Prime Minister as to when that occurs. We can expect it in the next 2 or 3 months. Now, the Daily Telegraph has speculation Josh Frydenberg could be in for a return. We know he's very keen to return to politics, but he's always had his sights on getting Kooyong again off Monique Ryan. So that would be slightly risky in the sense the government's poll ratings are still quite healthy. And Alan Tudge, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this because I've been scrambling trying to stand up the story, but he only has about a 4% margin, I think. So it wouldn't be a fait accompli were Josh Frydenberg to run. Obviously, we're trying to get hold of Josh Frydenberg now to see if he's interested, but I can confirm to you and our viewers now that after question time, Alan Tudge, the subject of several allegations and a harrowing day or two's evidence at the Royal Commission, will be announcing his retirement from politics after question time today, and that will leave a hole on Peter Dutton's front bench. He put Tudge on the front bench, many questioned that after the election, but he's going, Alan Tudge.
Goodness, and with that sort of margin, I mean, the Liberals would have to be a bit nervous about how that sort of by-election would play out. And I guess, as you say, if it ends up being Josh Frydenberg in the seat, that would really change the dynamics pretty significantly.
Yeah, it would. They'd be much more likely to hold it. I think they'd potentially be more worried about a Teal than Labor, but who knows? It's going to be an interesting contest. I don't think Peter Dutton would have wanted this resignation or this test, if you like. But Alan Tudge clearly has decided he's had enough after copping it in this Royal Commission, including from his former lover, who kind of gave evidence which didn't really help the former minister. And who knows, perhaps he's got a job. That's what a lot of these guys who are keen to get out of here are looking at, Scott Morrison being one of them. If you offered Scott Morrison a decent job, I dare say he'd go as well. And I guess the question comes out of this, with Tudge going, perhaps the former Prime Minister will consider his future as well, because we know that it's less controversial for several by-elections to be held at once rather than you doing what Alan Tudge is about to do and saying that you're resigning and causing one.
And Andrew, this is really cutting short a political career that had seemed to be on the up and up for so long, until it obviously just came crashing down with those really negative headlines involving those scandals over the past couple of years. In the last election campaign, of course, there was a sort of where is Alan Tudge going on in terms of campaigning. He wasn't seen to be very present in the media throughout that campaign. He was sort of taking a low profile, and you can understand why.
Oh, Ash, I think it's fair to say that Alan Tudge's political career died with those allegations by his former staffer and former lover, Rochelle Miller. And there are a lot of people in the Liberal Party who aren't that thrilled with what Rochelle Miller did. They saw her as being in a consensual relationship with Alan Tudge. Both of them were married. They thought what she alleged was pretty rough on Alan Tudge, that it took two to tango. But it just ruined his reputation. It's fair to say he hasn't been viewed the same since. And you pile this robo-debt issue on top of that when it looked like political opportunism at the expense of people, really. People who were unfairly accused of rorting money, told to pay back money when they didn't know it based on an automated system, and it was found to be unlawful. And there's questions whether Alan Tudge would have known if it was unlawful. And so his reputation has continued to decline in this place, and I suspect it's become quite a miserable place for him.
Andrew, just hold that thought. I understand our colleague Kieran Gilbert is also joining us. Actually, he'll be with us in 1 second. I'm hearing he's got some mail on how this is all going to pan out as well. You mentioned that Peter Dutton wouldn't exactly be wanting, I mean, I don't think any political leader ever really wants a by-election unless they're pretty keen to get someone out of that building. But in terms of how the opposition is tracking broadly at the moment, where does this all fit into that?
Well, it's always destabilising, but I think, you know, if you're going to get this, it's still relatively early in the term. It's better that Alan Tudge does it now than in, say, a year's time. And they'll just be wanting to get this by-election done and dusted, but the government's got a lot on its plate. It may make them wait for 3 or 4 months for the contest.